Okay. I'm Kevin, so I'm doing a presentation on composting, and you are, doesn't matter, this what I guess, it's like anywhere up from like middle school, so like not smaller, kind of like young adults. Yeah. Okay, so learning objectives are be aware of the different composting methods and the pros and cons of them. So we have open air composting, tumbler composting, warm farm composting. And classify what you can and cannot put in your compost, and there's some things that are questionable, and what you do to have good compost. So, cool. Alright, the first one is open air composting. It's kind of the most common method. You usually see like this. You can also just see like a pile. You don't have to have the piles around it. But the whole idea is that you expose it to the air and other worms and smaller organisms that can eat the compost, and you take it from the bottom. So you just pile. The good thing about it is you can pile stuff up. So the pros of this is open air composting is it's very easy to maintain, and you don't have to turn it constantly. You can if you want, and that it's open to lots of worms getting in there and other organisms to break it down. And that if you want to take compost, you can easily take it by just removing one of those, taking it from the bottom of the pile. The cons of it is that easily can be attract animals depending on what you put in there, and they'll make a big mess out of it. And then, yeah, and if you, it can also start smelling, which is not good. Second one we have is the tumbler compost, and this one's good because easily allows turning of compost, and if you have a little, it's contained, so you usually don't have to worry about animals getting in and messing it up. The only thing, and then the con about it is that the downside of it is that it's not outside, so you have to like turn it a lot for it to be effective, and you have to take out the compost when it's ready. You can't just like let it sit like the other ones. It fills up easily. And then the other one is worm farm composting, which is very good because it's fairly fast because the worms really speed up the process, and the worms make castings which make the compost super nutrient rich. The only thing about that is that it's lots of maintenance. You have to constantly be feeding it the compost, the worms. Not only are you taking care of compost, you're taking care of like worms. So you have to. It's not just like you have to feed them for them to keep going. So you have to at least come back once a day and feed them, see if they're alive, kind of make sure it's the moist level. And that's the downside of that. And here's what you can put in compost. So you can put food scraps in compost, paper, newspaper, any plant material, like grass clippings, leaves. Some other things you can put in compost are eggshells. You can put coffee grounds, put sticks, basically anything that was alive as a plant and now is no longer. Except there's some few things that you sometimes have to like be careful about putting in, like questionable things. And that is eggs, meat, and dairy, which they definitely will decompose, but they can also rot, which smells really bad. And that'll attract like unwanted critters. So another thing, so yeah, you can't put too much in that, except if you have, especially in the open air compost, because then animals will come and eat that. And then some other things you can put in there is manure, but that attracts a ton of insects, so you have to be careful of that too. Oh yeah. Right. And then what you have to do to, so anything that's processed you can put in the compost. Also some things and then there's things you cannot put in your compost at all. So processed foods, you can't really because like stuff you cooked that just takes takes a long time to decompose. And yeah, the organisms don't eat that fast. And you can't put like materials that are like naturally found. Like making sure like you can't put like I don't know, like metal in there, obviously. And then here's some steps of how to make compost better. Just maintain it. So one thing that you want to do is you don't want to make it too muddy, because then it'll just be water and mud. It's not compost. You want to turn your compost. You don't have to do that constantly. It's the more you do it, the better it is. And then if you do composting right, especially in the open air, you're taking everything from the bottom, and then it'll allow you to keep going, so you don't have to like stop and take anything out. One important thing also is you want to have a mixture of green materials and brown materials. So the green materials is nitrogen-rich materials, so that's any like plants and like food, grass clippings. The browns are carbon-rich materials, which are like sticks, dried leaves, wood chips. Yeah, you want to make sure those are kind of even distributed. So I was thinking, where did it, oh. If there's any questions, I was also going to go over like, if anyone has any compost things they're not sure what to put in.
Question.
Yeah.
What about like tea bags? Like, can you throw the entire tea bag in a compost?
Yeah, you usually can.
Even like if it has like a metal staple or something in that?
Well, that won't decompose if you put that in. It's just gonna sit
It's
there.
just gonna sit there.
Yeah.
Oh.
If it's like small stuff that like doesn't decompose, you just have it there.
Mm.
Yeah. Any other questions? Or, yeah.
Do you buy worms or do you forage for worms?
You can do both. I usually just look for them. I've never had it yeah, just both, I think.
For the tumbler
Mm-hmm.
method, there's no like connection to the ground, which means that like if you wanted any worms in that, like could you add worms
Yeah,
to
you'd have to
that?
add them, yeah.
Would it work without worms?
Yeah, it would. It would just take a lot longer.
Yeah.
You said you put grass clippings in there. What about weeds that you pull? Would that not be a good idea?
No, you can. I mean, they might grow in your compost. That'd be kind of a pain, but you definitely put them in. Yeah.
I have a question. What if the paper's like, I know it's like questionable if it's like colored paper, dyed paper, is that usually like a no-go to go in compost, or like, do you want just like natural like brown papers to go into it?
Yeah, I think natural's brown paper.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no harm putting, if it doesn't like attract insects and like anything there's no harm putting stuff in, you just might have to take it out because you're doing things.
Okay.
It won't like damage the soil or anything to have like dye in the compost?
I mean, I don't think it just might not decompose as well.
Mm.
I don't think so. I would agree with that.
So, you've done the worm composting
I've
before?
tried it.
Oh.
It's kind of hard because I don't know, I feel like it hasn't been very successful because like you're trying to like also like keep the worms alive too, and that's like a whole other thing. It's like a different like
What's like your preferred method? Like what
the
do you
one.
think?
The first one was my preferred method.
Okay.
It's just really simple.
Let me help you get that back up if you want. Technical difficulties. Well, I don't know what happened.
Yeah. The first one is the best, open air. And then you kind of